Dear students, I welcome you to this new video lesson. It is a part of the e-learning series for the subject of computer science, class 11th. In the previous chapters, we have discussed the conditional statements and iterative statements or loops. In this chapter, we will be discussing the advanced data type in Python, that is string. Let us see what all we have in this chapter in your syllabus. While covering this chapter, we will be discussing the introduction to strings, traversing a string, string operators, string slices, string functions, some solved examples on strings, and some practice programs for you. So let's begin the chapter with the introduction to strings. Python strings are characters enclosed in quotes of any type. It can be single quote, double quote, or triple quotation marks. Clear? So any type of quotes can be used in string. So any character enclosed in a single quote or double quote or triple quote is a Python string. An empty string is a string that has 0 characters. How it will look like? It will be just a pair of quotation marks, nothing inside it, not even a single space. Clear? So, if a string has 0 characters, nothing inside it, that is called empty string. Third very important point that you have already studied, that Python strings are immutable. You cannot change the value inside a string in place. Okay, if you try to change any value in a string, Python creates a new string. So that's why strings are immutable. Strings are sequence of characters where each character has a unique position ID or index. There are two types of indexing that we have studied when we were dealing with data types in Python. One index is called forward indexing and second one is called backward indexing. So the indexes of a string start from 0 and go up to the length minus 1 in forward direction. Suppose a string has 10 characters, so the index will start from 0 and the last index will be 9. Why 9? Because the indexing is starting from 0. That's why if there are 10 characters, it will be 1 less. The last index will be 1 less than the length. And in the reverse direction, the indexing will start from minus 1 to minus length. You can see in this string example given, hello world is a string. Okay, so the forward indexing is starting from 0 and it is moving up to 10. That means this string has 11 characters including the space between the hello and world. Okay. So the negative indexing will start from the last, that is minus 1, and it will move to minus 11. Okay. So you must understand that each character in string has two indexes, one forward index, one backward index. Okay. So forward index starts from the first character and the backward indexing starts from the last character. Clear? Same type of indexing is followed in the remaining two data types, that is list and tuple. Now we come to string traversal. Traversing refers to iterating through the elements of a string one character at a time. That means visiting or going to each character once. That is called traversing. Individual characters of a string are accessible through the unique index of each character. So, using the indexes, we can traverse a string character by character. So, we have to perform iteration, that means we have to move through the string character by character. This is called iteration. So to perform iteration, we will use looping construct, because looping means iteration. So we will use for loop as it has the ability to get across sequences. You know, string is a sequence. Sequence means characters placed one after another. So it is a sequence. Similarly, list and tuple are also sequences. So if you have studied the looping constructs in the previous video, you know that for loop can get through the sequence. Its syntax is so that it is helpful to get us through the sequences. So we will be using for loop for string traversal. So using for loop, we can traverse a string in two manners. Number one, just by using the string name. The string name is a sequence. And the second thing is using the range function and the length function that gives us the length of the string. So the combination of length and range will also make us traverse through the string. Let us see the example. The first type is using name of string. Suppose the name of the string is name and we have the value as computer science. So using the for loop, we will write for a variable named ch in name. Okay, you know the syntax, for variable in a sequence. So what is the sequence here? Name, that is a string. So for the variable ch in sequence name, colon, because it is a compound statement. So after 4 spaces, we write print ch and then we put end is equal to space. So when we execute this, it will give us all the characters one after another separated by spaces. It will give us C space O space M and up to E. Okay, so this is how we iterate through a string using its name. For any variable name, that is a loop variable, in sequence. Sequence is the name of the string. Okay, you can print each character. Let's see another example where the user gives us the input. Name is equal to input, enter name. This is a message. So reading this message, the user will input a name. And again, we will write for ch in sequence, that is name. This is the variable of the string. Then we print ch and is equal to space. Okay, so it will give us all the characters separated by space that are entered by the user. Now, second type is using range function. Same example, name is equal to computer science. Now we will use the length and the range function. For I in range, you know that there are two types of syntaxes for. One is this for variable in sequence. Another is for variable in range, length of name. So the length of this string will be used and we will use range function. You know, range function gives us from the syntax of the range is range, start, stop, step. So if only one value is provided, that will be the stop value. So where do you have to stop? You have to stop at length of the string -1. You know the range function gives one value less. And the default start value is 0. And you know that in string we start with index 0. So using this range function, we will go from the character index number 0 to last. Okay, this function range in bracket length of name will give us our sequence from index number 0 to index number last, length -1. So we will be printing name and its index. That's how we print each character of a string. Similarly, in this example, the user enters the value and the loop is same. So these are the two examples to iterate through a string, and these will be very helpful in the coming programs that we will be discussing on strings. Okay, you can choose any of these two methods. Okay, but before using this range and length function, you must be aware about the use of and the properties of range function. Now let us see string operators. What are the operators that are used with string? Number first is plus, that is called string concatenation operator. Plus operator is used to create a new string by joining the two strings that are provided as operand. For example, if we have two strings T and pot and we put a plus sign in between, we will get a new string and it will be teapot. No spaces in between. Teapot. Okay. Python creates a new string in the memory by storing the individual characters of first string followed by all the individual characters of second string. Okay, that's how we concatenate two strings. Original strings are not modified. You know why? Because strings are immutable. Plus operator, when used with numbers, perform addition. Okay, suppose 5 plus 10 is equal to 15. This is numerical addition. And when used with strings, it performs concatenation. Okay, the plus operator has to have both operands of same type. Okay, that means you must have strings on both the sides of plus, or you must have numbers on the both sides of plus. So if there are both numbers, then it will be numerical addition. If they are strings, then it will be string concatenation. But you cannot have one string and one number. String concatenation cannot work with one operand as string and one operator as number. For example, string 2 plus 3, numerical 3, is invalid and it will produce error. Okay, so the plus operator can either be used with both the numbers or strings. Okay, the second operator is string replication, that is denoted by star. The star operator or string replication operator, when used with numbers, perform multiplication. You know that? And returns the product of two numeric operands. To use a star operator or a replication operator with strings, we need two types of operands, one string and one number. How can we use it? We can use it either string into number or number into string. But it cannot be string into string. Okay, we cannot multiply two strings. Okay, it can be either string into a number or a number into a string. The string operand tells the string to be replicated and the number operator tells the number of time it is to be repeated. Okay, the string that you will provide will be taken as the value to be repeated, and the numeric value that will be there, what it will be the number of times that string will be repeated. Python creates a new string, that is a number of repetitions of the string operand. Suppose, let us see the example. If we write 3 into the string go followed by a exclamation mark, it will give us go, go, go. Replication means repetition. So this string go followed by exclamation mark is repeated 3 times. Similarly, if we write a string 1, 2, 3 multiplied by 2 or repeated 2 times, it will give us a string 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Clear? The use of replication operator is clear to you? Great. Next, membership operator. You have heard these operators when we have discussed the operators in detail, in and not in. Okay, how it will be used? First is string 1 in string 2. So it will check the existence of string 1 in string 2. So what are the possible values? Answers? It can be true or false. So this in operator will return true if string 1 exists in string 2. Otherwise it will return false. Similarly, not in, it is the reverse of in. It will return true if string 1 does not exist in string 2, otherwise false. Please note the existence of string in membership operator is case sensitive. It will differentiate between small letters and capital letters. Okay, let us see an example. Jap in Japan will give true because JAP all are in small case. Similarly, in Japan all the characters are in lowercase. That's why it will give true. But JAP small in J capital Japan will give false because J in string 1 is small letters and in the string 2 it is in capital letter. So it will give false. Please note this. Okay, because the comparison, that is membership operator, is case sensitive. The membership operators can also work with the string variables. Suppose you want to store strings in variables and then compare, then it is also possible. For example, string 1 is help, string 2 is helping. You can check str1 in str2. Can you guess the answer? Yes, you have guessed it right. The answer will be true. Next we have comparison operators that are less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, double equal to, and not equal to. So Python's standard comparison operators apply to string also. The comparison is based on the character by character comparison rule for Unicode. You know, all the characters in Python are Unicode. Okay, the strings will be compared character by character. First character of first string compared with the first character of second string, and so on. Equality and non-equality in string is easier to determine as it goes for exact character matching for individual letters, and it is case sensitive. Okay. For other operators, Unicode value or ordinal value is taken into account. You must have heard this Unicode value, and we call it a ordinal value in Python. So you can get the ordinal value of any character that are present in your keyboard. So let us see in this chart. You can see the characters, that means 0 to 9 are having ordinal value 48 to 57. Capital A to capital Z are 65 to 90, and small a to small z are 97 to 122. So what do you conclude from this table? We conclude that the ordinal value of small a is greater than the ordinal value of capital A. So if you want to compare small a and capital A, small a will be larger in value. So this thing is clear by this example. Small a less than capital A. Is it true? No. Small a, the ordinal value of small a is greater than capital A ordinal value, so it will give false. Similarly, the second one will give true. Why? Because the mismatch is in D. A, B, C all are in small in both the strings, but the small d is in first string and in the second string it is capital D. So the ordinal value of small d is greater. That's why the first string will be considered greater than the second string. Okay. So you must know the comparison in strings is as per the character by character matching, and we will check for the first mismatch. The first mismatch in the strings will be checked, and then we will decide as per the ordinal value of that mismatched character that which string is greater. If you want to know the ordinal value of any character, you can have that value by using the ORD function. What you have to do is you have to write ORD, and in brackets you have to provide that character in single quote or double quote. Okay. So if you write ORD in bracket single quote 0, it will give you 48. Clear? It is very important to understand the comparison operators and the logic of comparison of strings. Now the next topic is string slices. Slice means a part of. Okay. In Python, the term string slice refers to a part of the string. Okay. Here, the strings are sliced using a range of indices. For slicing a string, we write the string name, and in square bracket we provide it a range n:(m). That means from the index number n to m. Okay. Here, n and m are integers, and these are legal string indices. Python will return a slice of the string by returning the characters falling between the index n and m. Please note here m is not included. Okay. So if you try to slice a string between index number n to m, it will give us a string, a substring starting from the index number n, and it will move up to m minus 1. So what will be the indexes that we will get? We will get n, n plus 1, n plus 2, so on up to m minus 1. Please note again that m will not be included. The index m value, the value at the index number m, will not be returned as a substring. Like the range function, the upper limit is not touched. Similarly, here also in slicing, the upper limit index is not touched. Okay. So if we skip either of the beginning index or the last index, Python will consider the limit of the string. That means if you do not provide the starting value, that is this starting index, Python will take it to the first index. What is the first index in a string? 0. And if you do not provide the second string, the second limit, that is m, it will take the last index, that is length of string. Clear? So the default value of the first value is 0 and the second value will be the length of the string. Clear? Python also have a second version of string slicing where we have 3 arguments. Number 1 is start, number 2 is stop, number 3 is step. Step means if you do not want all the characters, you want every second character of that string, then you will write 2 in this step value. Okay. Here the third argument, suppose say n, will return every nth element as a sliced string. Suppose you want every second character of the string to be returned as a substring, so you will write step value as 2. Okay. So this step value is optional. Index out of bound cause error with the string. If you want to access a character and you provide an index that is not available, it will return error. But slicing out of bound will not cause any error, because it will not, if you are not making a proper bound, then it will take the most possible bound. Okay, because you know that if you do not provide the starting value, it takes as 0. If you do not provide this last value, it takes at length of string. So if you provide it out of bound, it will take the maximum possible bound that is available with it. So there are some examples for you. This is a string fudge. Name of this is the string 0 2. That means from 0 to 2, not including 2. So 0 is f, then we have u. This 2, that is d, index number 2, that represents d, will not be included in the answer. 2 to 5, that means 2, 3, 4, index number 2, 3, 4. What are the index number 2, 3, 4? D, G, E. Okay. Similarly, colon 4, that means you have not provided the initial value, it will take as 0. So it will give 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, F, U, D, G. Similarly, this 1, minus 1. Okay. So minus 1, you know, also is index, that is the last index. So 1 to last. Negative indexing is also there, that is called backward indexing. So you will get the answer UDG. Similarly, here in this, if the string is hello, and these, if you provide these value, str0 is h, then str1 is e, these are the values. And then if you try some slicing, then you get these results. Please look at this carefully. If you are not providing any value, not the value of start and neither the stop, then it will take the entire string. Why? Because the initial default value of the start argument is 0 and the stop argument is length of the string. So it will take all the string, all the characters of the string. Okay. So you can see the examples of this string slicing. It is very important. You can try on your own. Take any string and try slicing. Give it random indexes, any index that you want. It can be negative. If the step value is negative, it is in reverse order. So you can give any value of start and stop and step and check the result. It will be fun for you. Okay. Have a go at it. Now, very important point in this chapter of string, the functions that are available to be used with strings. The first function is len. You have seen it. It returns the number of characters in the string. How to use it? Len, and in bracket you provide the string. For example, if you provide str is equal to Mohit, then we can get the length of string by printing it. Okay, so it will give 5. Next, it is capitalize method or function. It returns a string where the first character is in uppercase. So if you are providing a string in lowercase and you give it to the capitalize function, it capitalizes the first character. For example, if the text is hello and you capitalize it, the answer will be hello, where H is capital. Next is title function. It returns a string where the first character in every word is in uppercase. You know the title case where the first character of each word is capital. Okay. Next we have upper function, which returns a string. Please note, the string that is being returned will be a new string because strings are immutable, where all the characters are in uppercase. If you want to change all the characters in uppercase, you can use upper function. Okay, you have to use it like string name dot upper. Okay, so it will return a new string where all the characters will be in uppercase. Please note, the length function has the string in its argument, where the remaining function that we are discussing are used with string objects. Object name dot function. Please note this. This is very important. Here the length function, it takes string as argument because this length function does not belong to this string class. Okay, but these functions where we are working with string object, these all belong to string class. That's why we have written string value, that is string object dot capitalize, string dot title, string dot upper, string dot lower, and so on. So the next function is lower. It will return a new string where all the characters are in lowercase. Okay, very easy functions. Next we have count function. It returns the number of times a specified value appears in the string. Okay, so if you want to count the occurrence of a character in a string or of a word in a string, you can use count function. This is the example. Suppose the string is I love apple, comma, apple is my favorite, and you want to count how many times apple word has arrived, you can use this. Okay, string dot count. And in brackets you provide the string name that you want to check. So it will give the answer as 2. But if you want to have a range for this checking, you can also specify the starting range and the ending index. Clear? So if you want to check in first 30 characters of the string, you can give 0 and 30 as the starting and the ending bound. But these values are optional. These two are optional. Next we have find function. It finds the first occurrence of a specified value. Please note, only the first occurrence, and it returns -1 if the value is not found in the string. You can also provide the starting and ending index if you want to limit your search to up to a range. For example, if you write hello, welcome to my world, okay, it will give the first occurrence, means the index where the first occurrence has been found for this word welcome. Clear? Next we have index function. So in this index function, it finds the first occurrence of the specified value like in find function, but the difference is the index function will raise an exception, that is a runtime error, if the value is not found. So you have to be very cautious while using this index function. So if you are using index function to search for a value, and if the value is not existing in the string, it will return an error. Okay, and the use of this function is similar like the find function. Okay, next we come to isLnum. isLnum. You have to note that if any function is having the word is in the beginning, that means it will return either true or false, because it works like a question. Okay, isLnum, that means you are checking for alphabet and numeric. Al is L, for alphabet, num is for numeric. So this function will return true if all the characters are alphanumeric. That means if all the alphabets are either alphabets or numbers, okay, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So what are the remaining values that it will give false? Special characters. If you are using any special characters in your string, this will return false. Next is alpha. Please note the occurrence of is. That clearly means that this function will return either true or false. So it will return true if the characters are if all the characters are alphabets, then it will return true, otherwise false. Similarly, is digit, it is also used with string. Please note, string dot is alpha, string dot is digit, and so on. So is digit will return true if all the characters are digits, otherwise it will return false. Then you will check a function that can be used, that is space. It returns true if all the characters are in a string are white spaces, otherwise it will return false. So this function is used to check the occurrence of space in a string. Then we have is lower function. It will return true if all the characters are in lower case in the string, otherwise it will return false. Similarly, is upper function will return true if all the characters of the string are in uppercase. Very simple questions, but you have to note that except from the length function, all the functions are to be used with a string object. The object name followed dot the function name. Okay, this is to be noted. Next function is split function. This function splits a string into a list. Okay, we can specify the separator character. By default, the separator character is space. Okay, suppose you have a string having many words and you want to break it into individual words, then you can use split function. Okay, it checks for the occurrence of the separator character and it breaks that string at that point. Suppose you have a string called welcome to the jungle, the punchline of Jumanji, and if you want to split it and you have not provided any partition character or separator character, then it will take the by default value, that is space. So it will give you a list containing words welcome, to, the, jungle. Okay, so to break a string into individual words, and it will give a list. Please note, it returns a list of words, okay, separated by a separator character. So if you are not providing any specified value for the separator character, it takes as space. So as soon as it finds space, suppose it finds space between welcome and to, so it will break this string here and make it different elements. So first element will be welcome, second will be to, then it will be 3, and the third element will be the, and the fourth will be jungle. But if you have some special characters, suppose $sign or ampersand sign or @ sign in between the words, you can specify that character here. You can write text.split, in single quotes you can write @. So wherever it finds @, it will break that string from there. Okay, the first part will be the first element and the remaining it will check for other occurrences of @. Okay, so this is very important function. It will be used in various chapters ahead, so you must know the use of split function. Clear? Then we have partition function. It searches for a specified string and splits the string into a tuple. Please note, a tuple, where the tuple has 3 parts. What are the 3 parts? The first one is the part before the specified string, second part is the specified string, and the third one is the part after the string. Suppose you have a text like I could eat bananas all day, and you want to partition this string on the basis of bananas. So the output will be I could eat as the first element, bananas as the second element, all day as the third element. all these 3 strings will be in the form of a tuple. Okay. In split we get a list, and in partition function we get a tuple. Next we have strip function. So it removes leading or trailing characters or spaces. Okay. By default the character value is space. How it is used? String dot strip and the character you want to strip. Suppose you have a text, some spaces, then banana, then after there are some spaces. So if you want the spaces to be stripped, you will write text dot strip. So it will remove all the leading and the trailing spaces, and only banana will be the result. And suppose you have this string as an example, and you want to strip this, so it will remove all these values from the string and it will give just banana. So there are 2 types of example for the use of strip function. You can try all these functions in the IDLE and you can try them, play with them and see the result. Next we have L strip, that is left strip. Here the leading spaces or leading characters are stripped. Okay, you can see the example here, the leading spaces have been removed. Okay, similarly we have R strip, that is right strip. Here the trailing spaces or trailing characters are removed. Okay, like this in example. Then we have replace function. It replaces a specified phrase with another specified phrase. This replace works like it works in the MS Word. How it will be used? String dot replace the old value of the string and the new value of the string. And you can also provide the count, that means the number of replacement you want to make. And if you do not provide this value, all the values will be changed. Suppose you have the string as I like bananas and you want to replace bananas with apples, you can write like this, text dot replace bananas comma apples. So the result of X will be I like apples. Clear? Very easy. But you have to try these functions on the IDLE shell and you can play with these with different values. Okay, so then only you can get the actual feel of these functions. So you must practice these functions in the IDLE shell. Next, moving on, we have some solved examples. Here in the first example we have calculated the length of string. We got the input. Because we have to count the length of the string, so the logic is to have a count variable as 0 and then we put this loop for I in str. For each character increase the count, and after the loop completes you will get the length of the string in this variable called count. So this is the actual logic behind the length function. Okay, it is very easy question. Next we have to count the number of digits in a string. So whenever you have to count something, that means it indicates that you have to take a variable called count with the initial value 0. Similarly, here we are using the range function for our purpose. So we get the length of the string and we write for I in range 0 to length step by 1 if that particular character, if the name of the string is str, then you can get the particular character by this str in square brackets the index of the element. If it is digit, so how you check digit? We have is digit function. So we write if stri, that means the particular character is digit, then it will return true. Then if the character is digit, then you can increase the count. Okay, so this way you get the total number of digits in a string. Or you can use this version of for I in str. If I dot is digit, that means for I in str will iterate through the string going to each character once. So it will check each character for digit. If it finds a digit, it will increase the value of count from 0 to 1 to 2 and so on, and after the end of this loop it will give us the number of digits. So you can use any method. You can use this range function these 4 lines will change. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And if you do not want to have this range function, you can use this. Okay. Next question, we have to check the count vowels in a string. Similarly, count, that means you have to take a count variable. So you write for I in str. There you have two methods. Either you can use like using if statement. How? If I is equal to a, or I is equal to e, and similarly, but you have to write many characters here. Another method is, shorter way is, if I in, and then you write all the vowels, small and capital letters, in a list. That means it becomes a sequence. So you can use this containership operator in, and you can check the number of vowels. So for I in str, it will check all the characters of the string. If a particular character belongs to this list having these 10 elements, it will increase the count, and at the end of the program it will give the total number of vowels. Similarly, program to count the uppercase characters, very simple, using isUpper method, and you can similarly count lowercase characters, spaces in a string, and so on. Okay, so these are some examples where we have worked with strings. So before working on the programs, you must be clear with the uses of the functions related to strings. So first you have to try each and every function at least 10 times with all its optional values. Then you will be well versed with the use of the functions. Then you can go to these examples. Okay. So before seeing these examples or trying these examples, please work with the functions, individual functions, at least 10 examples for each function. Then you will get the gist of that function. Okay. So at the last, we have some practice programs for you. First one is to check a string for palindrome. Palindrome string means the string that is same from both the sides, like madam, M-A-D-A-M. You read it from any side, the string will be same. Then to count the number of alphabets, now count the number of lowercase, now count the number of spaces, special characters, or to count the number of occurrences of a given character in a string without using count function. Okay, don't use count function. I want you to try the actual logic of the count function. What will be the logic? You will iterate through all the characters and you will compare all the characters with the given character, and you will get the total number of occurrences. Okay, the frequency of that character. So you have to develop logic. The programming is all about logic, so you have to develop a logic with each program you make. Okay, and in your board examinations of class 12th, you get some output based questions also, and many other programs are there related to strings and many other chapters of Python. There is a very useful website for you, that is www.python4csip.com. In this you can have chapter wise notes, and there are some question papers for you also, and you can have a lot of questions on the output based questions, because in this session we cannot discuss all the output based questions and all the programs. So to have some output based questions on slicing of string and the output of string based questions, you can visit this site. It is very useful site for you, and it will also help you to work out some examples, output based questions on other chapters like list, tuples, and dictionary. Okay, so please consult this website to have a look at some question papers or the output based questions on the chapters that you are covering. Okay, so whenever you cover a particular chapter, just go to this website and check that worksheet on that particular chapter, and you will come across many output based questions and many other programs based on strings and list and many more. Okay, so do visit this website and check out your and check out the worksheets on the different chapters. It will be very helpful for you. Okay, so with this we come to the end of this video lesson. In this video lesson we have discussed the theoretical part of string with the functions that are available to be used with strings, and we have also a look at some practice questions, and at the end I have given you some programs for practice. So try these programs and visit this website. Before it, please go through all those functions again and again and try these functions at the Python shell IDLE. 10 practices for each function. Okay, so it will be very helpful for you, and all these functions will be related to strings will also be used in the further chapters, so they will give you a confidence of programming. Okay, so with this we end this video lesson, and in the next video lesson we will be discussing the next data type, that is list. So stay tuned to the channel.